Welcome to Mastering Windows. In this tape, we'll discuss three major topics. These are the File Manager, the Control Panel, and some ways to improve your computer's performance. This presentation assumes that you've already had some experience with Windows and that you know how to do such things as activate an icon and run an application, open and close individual windows, as well as drag things like the button in a scroll bar. If these Windows operations are unfamiliar to you, you should consider first viewing an introductory Windows video. You may notice that some of your computer screens look different from the one shown here. One reason is that everyone uses different software. As a result, you see differing numbers and types of icons on the screen. Another factor is that the Windows environment is very flexible, and it is possible to customize or alter it in many ways, and as a new user, you might even accidentally change its appearance. Your Windows may have been pre-installed, and being attached to a network could also cause differences. One factor is easy to check. It has to do with the version of Windows being used. You can tell which version of Windows is being used on your computer by clicking Help in Program Manager and selecting About Program Manager. We are using version 3.11 of Windows for this video. Another possible cause of screen variation is the operating mode. Windows can operate in either standard mode or enhanced mode. We are using the enhanced mode. Most new computers will automatically select the enhanced mode, and this mode is preferred if any DOS applications will be run from within Windows. Let's show you how to use the glossary that comes with Windows. This glossary gives you the meanings of words and new meanings of old terms that are associated with Windows. The glossary may be found under Help in the Program Manager. Click either Contents or How to Use Help. The glossary button is here on the right. The glossary is arranged alphabetically, and to read the definition of any term in the glossary, simply point to it. The pointer changes to a hand as it passes over an entry. When the hand is over the entry you want to read about, click it. The definition then appears in its own box. When you are through reading, close the definition by clicking anywhere outside of the box. You can click under the button in the vertical scroll bar here on the right to scroll to additional entries. Or you can drag the button down this scroll bar to advance into the glossary. When you are through using the glossary, close its windows. Click the Control menu box and then select Close, or simply double-click the Control menu box. This returns us to the windows we started from, either the Program Manager Help or How to Use Help. Now, close this Help window either by clicking Close from the pull-down menu or simply double-clicking the Control menu box. Next, let's look at the File Manager. This Windows option helps you manage the contents of your disks. We'll illustrate its use by controlling the File Manager's appearance and display fonts, searching for and deleting selected files, moving and copying files to a newly created subdirectory, backing up files into a floppy disk, and changing an application's default directory. This important utility is usually found in the main program group. Open Main by double-clicking its icon. Then activate the File Manager by double-clicking its icon. Let's first look at the options under View. Make sure the check marks appear to the left of Tree and Directory. All file details and sort by name. Each time you click an option, the View menu is cleared and the option put into effect. You may have to click the View more than once to get all the options the way you see them here. Next, let's check the options under Tree. Make sure that there is a check mark to the left of Indicate Expandable Branches. Finally, we'll check some of the settings under Options. Click Confirmation. Make sure that an X appears in all the boxes listed here. After all the confirmations are checked, click OK. Click Options again and make sure there's a check beside Status Bar. Any of the changes just made will be lost when you shut off your computer, and you would need to repeat these steps to again recover what we just did. If you don't want to go through all of this work again, simply click Save Settings on Exit. Remember to turn off this setting the next time you enter the File Manager. Otherwise, the File Manager settings may change each time you exit from it. Now we'll show you how to change the File Manager's fonts. Note that some fonts look old-fashioned, while others look modern. The size of letters can be small or large. Let's take a look at how the File Manager's screen fonts can be modified. From the File Manager, click Options, then click Font, and we get this dialog box. These are different kinds of fonts. Some of them may be different on your computer. When you select a font from this list, an example of how it will look appears here. Of the font styles offered, Regular is usually the most suitable for the screen. But you can see what happens when you select a different font style by looking simply at the sample box. The third choice offered here is Size. These numbers refer to point size, and the larger the number, the bigger the letter appears. Find a size that is comfortable for you by examining the samples as you make different choices. Keep in mind that while larger letters are easier to read, they take more space and cause less information to appear on the screen. Select what looks good to you. When you have all the settings the way you want them, click OK. If you later change your mind, you can return to this dialog box and make different choices. Next, we will remove some unneeded files from our disk. Windows frequently creates temporary files and stores them on your hard disk. Most of the time, these files are automatically deleted by Windows, but occasionally they aren't. These files usually start with a character called a tilde. Before we search for these files, we need to be sure that no other Windows applications are running. If an application is operating, it may be actively using a temporary file. You wouldn't want to delete such a file because it might make the application crash. To check, we first reduce the File Manager to an icon by clicking the Minimize button. You can see what other applications are running by their icons. You will see the File Manager icon. If you're using a screensaver, you'll see its icon. There should be no icons for applications such as a word processor or spreadsheet. If there are other icons, close them before you delete the temporary files. Once you're sure it's okay to delete temporary files, restore the File Manager window at that time. Select the main or root directory here at the upper left side of the screen. The list of files and folders on the right side of the screen will change. To find specific files on our disk, click File, then click Search to get to this dialog box. The asterisk period asterisk we see in this box is the default entry. This is the computer's way of saying search for all files. The asterisks are called wildcards and often read as star. However, we don't want to search for all files. We are only looking for files that begin with a tilde. To do this, we need to insert a tilde in front of the star dot star. This can be done quickly by tapping the Home key, then the tilde key. The tilde is an uppercase character, so remember to hold down the Shift key. Or you can type tilde star dot star. Check to see that Start From says C:\\/ and that this box has an X in it. We'll talk about what subdirectories are a little bit later. Click the OK button for now. If any files beginning with a tilde are on your disk, they will be displayed in a search results window. Look at the dates associated with these files. Most of the dates should be recent, and most of them should be located in the directory used to store temporary files. This could be the DOS directory, or it might be the temp directory. In order to delete these files beginning with a tilde, we need to select them. To do this, click File, then click Select Files. In the next dialog box, notice that star dot star appears here. As we have seen, the star dot star is a way of referring to all files. In this case, it refers to all the files in the search results window. It does not refer to all the files on your disk. To select all the tilde files in this search results window, click Select. The selected files are highlighted on the screen. Now close the Select Files dialog box by clicking Close. The files in the search results window remain highlighted. To delete these selected files, click File, then click Delete, or just tap the Delete key. The Delete dialog box appears. Click Cancel if you change your mind and choose not to delete the highlighted files. Otherwise, click OK to continue. In the dialog box, you can click Yes or No to choose whether or not to delete each file as it is listed here. You have another chance to cancel, or by clicking Yes to All, you can tell Windows to delete all the selected files without further confirmation requests. If you accidentally try to delete a file that is in use, you will get an error message. Click OK to clear the error message, then click Cancel to stop the deletion process. You will need to close some applications before you can delete all of the highlighted files. If you deleted files, you are given an opportunity to update the search results window. You might want to do this to make sure that the selected files were deleted. However, we'll just click the No button. Note that we're through with this search. We'll close this window by double-clicking its control menu box, and that there are two of these boxes, and that we need to click the lower box. If you double-click the upper box, the File Manager window will be closed, which is simply not what we want at this point. Closing the Search Results window returns us to the File Manager. We have successfully deleted the unwanted tilde files. You can also use this technique shown here to delete any group of files. In our next segment, we'll show you how to create a subdirectory and how to move or copy files into this subdirectory. Directories and subdirectories are similar to file folders in a filing cabinet. This is one of the reasons that the icon for the File Manager is a filing cabinet, and a folder is used to represent each directory in the File Manager window. Directories and subdirectories allow you to group related files together. Such grouping makes it easier to keep track of files on your hard disk, and it also helps the computer work more efficiently. When creating a subdirectory, there are two things you need to keep in mind. These are what to name it and where to put it. Let's say we've decided to put our new subdirectory in the Window directory. We selected this location because Write is a Windows application. The first step is to make the Windows subdirectory active by clicking on its folder. Look for a plus sign in the Windows folder. The plus sign shows that this directory has subdirectories which are not being displayed. Let's look at the subdirectories in the Windows folder by double-clicking. Any subdirectories are displayed as named folders connected with lines to the Windows folder. When choosing a name for a new subdirectory, make sure that the name is not identical to any other subdirectory. We'll call our subdirectory Right and check here to make sure nothing else already appears with this name. Click File, then click Create Directory to open the Create Directory dialog box. Before we enter the name of our new subdirectory in this dialog box, keep in mind that you can use this Help button to see the rules that must be followed when naming things like files and subdirectories in Windows. Look for this line that says Creating Directories. Move the pointer to this line, and when it changes to a hand, click the mouse. Locate the line that reads Naming Files and Directories, and click it to get the rules that must be followed when naming files and directories. Always limit directory names to a maximum of 8 letters or numbers. Do not use spaces. By convention, extensions are not used when naming directories. If you want a printed copy of these rules, click File, then click Print Topic. When you are finished with the File Manager Help window, close it by double-clicking its Control menu box. This returns us to the Create Directory dialog box. Place the pointer here and click to put the insertion bar in this box. Check to see that this line says C:\Windows. If it does not, click Cancel and repeat the steps previously described to make Windows the active directory. Type in the name of our new subdirectory, WRITE. You can use either uppercase or lowercase letters. Use the backspace key to correct typing errors, and when the entry is correct, click OK. If you later change your mind about this name or discover it was not entered correctly, simply delete this subdirectory and create a new one. Of course, you can easily create other directories following these procedures. We can see that a folder named Right has been added to the list of subdirectories under the Windows folder. Although we have created a new subdirectory, it is empty, as can be seen by clicking on the Right folder. So our next task will be to move or copy some existing files into this new subdirectory. In Windows, file names have two parts, which are separated from each other by a period. The part to the right of the period is called an extension, and it is restricted to a maximum of 3 characters. The Right word processor automatically assigns an extension of WRI to the files it creates. Chances are there are already a few WRI files located on your disk. Our first task will be to find these files. We wish to search through all of the files and subdirectories located in the Windows directory. So let's make the Windows directory active. We begin our search much like we did when we were looking for the tilde files. Click File on the menu bar, then click on Search to get to the Search dialog box. This time it is not a specific first letter or character that we are looking for, but rather certain letters in the file extension. Therefore, we'll replace the star to the right of the period with the letters WRI. Tap the left arrow key, type in the letters WRI, and tap the delete key. What is left in the Search For box should be the star dot WRI. If something different appears, just erase the incorrect contents and type in star dot WRI. The WRI following the period restricts the search to only those files that have an extension of WRI. The first star is still a wildcard, and it says that the file can have any name. You can easily use this technique to search for files with other extensions as well. Before clicking the OK button to begin the search, check to see that this box says C:\Windows. If it does not, you will need to click the Cancel and go back and click the Windows folder to make it the active directory. Also, check to see that this box has an X in it. If everything is alright, click OK. If any files with an extension of WRI are found, they'll be displayed in a search results window. Before we can either move or copy these files anywhere, we need to select them. To do this, click File, then click Select Files. In the dialog box that results, we see the familiar star. Remember that this star is a shorthand way to refer to all files. Recall also that it refers to all the files in the search results window. To select these files, click the Select button and the selected files are highlighted on the screen. After the files have been highlighted, click Close. Observe that the files in the search results window remain highlighted. We will illustrate how to move or copy files by dragging and dropping them with the mouse. While the keyboard can also be used for this process, it is not shown here. When you copy a file, it means that you end up with two copies of the file, the original file and the duplicate file. The contents of both files are the same. When you move one or more files, there is only one set of files which are moved from their original location to a new location. The procedure for copying and moving files are similar. In either case, we need to be able to see both the search results window and the file manager window. Right now, the search results window fills the entire screen. Reduce the size of the search results window by using this button with both the up and down pointing triangles. It is called the Restore button. There are two of these buttons on our screen. We'll use the lower one because the higher one is for the File Manager window. Now we can see both the search results as well as the File Manager windows. You might not be able to see the right folder in the File Manager window. If necessary, reposition the search results window by putting the pointer in the title bar and dragging it until this panel in the File Manager can be seen. You may click in the File Manager window to replace it on the top, and then click in the scroll bar until the right folder is visible. Now, click anywhere in the search results window to put it back on top. Move the pointer into any of the highlighted files. First, let's move these files. We do this by using the mouse to drag from the highlighted files to the right folder. Notice that a small file icon is attached to the pointer while dragging. Don't release the mouse's button until the right folder is framed by a rectangle. When the button is released, you are asked to confirm your action. Click No to stop this process, but if you do wish to move the highlighted files, click Yes. However, for now, we'll click No here so we can go back and show you how to copy files. To copy the highlighted files, press and hold down the Control key on the keyboard. Move the pointer into any highlighted file and drag the file icon between the highlighted files and the right folder in the File Manager. Don't let up on either the mouse's button or the Control key until the right folder is framed by a rectangle. First, release the mouse's button and then let up on the Control key. Notice that holding down the Control key while dragging the file's icon is the only procedural difference between copying files and moving files. When you let up on the mouse button, either the word Copy or the word Move appears here in the Confirm Mouse Operation dialog box. Click Yes to go ahead and copy these WRI files into the right subdirectory. With this dialog box, you are given an opportunity to update the search results window. However, we'll just click the No button. Close the search results window by double-clicking on its control menu box. We created a new subdirectory in the Windows directory and named it Write. We also moved or copied a number of files into this new subdirectory. Next, we'll show you how to instruct the Write word processor to use this new subdirectory as its default directory. Our first step is to close the File Manager. This returns us to the Program Manager. Now minimize Main to an icon. Open the group that contains the Write word processor by double-clicking the icon that contains it. On most computers, this will be the Accessories icon. Locate the Write icon and click it just once to activate it. Do not double-click it because this will start Write. If you accidentally do this, double-click its control menu box to close it. With the Write icon activated in the Accessories window, click File, then click Properties to open this dialog box. Verify that this box says Write.exe. If it does not, you can either type it in or go back and activate the Write icon. Put the insertion point in this box by clicking it in. If anything is currently in the box, delete it using the backspace or delete key. Now, type in C:\\/WINDOWS /WRITE. Since Write is a subdirectory of the Windows directory, both the directory name Windows and subdirectory name Write must be included to identify the location of our new subdirectory. Including both names is referred to as a path. The description box contains the name that appears under an icon and should already contain Write. The shortcut key box probably says None and may be left unchanged. This box allows you to specify a key combination to start Write using the keyboard. To get information about how to set up shortcut keys, click Help. When everything is correct, click OK. This closes the Program Items Properties dialog box and returns us to the Accessories windows. Now, start Write by double-clicking its icon. Click File and then click Open. Notice that the files in the Open dialog box are the ones we just copied into the Write subdirectory. And here we see the directory we typed in the Program Item Properties dialog box, which is now the default directory for the Write word processor. Since we don't really want to open a Write document now, click Cancel. Click File, Exit, or double-click the control menu box to close the Write and return to the Accessories window. Finally, minimize the Accessories window to its icon. Our last demonstration using the File Manager will be to back up some files by copying them from the hard disk to a floppy disk. Backing up work is a very important aspect of using a computer. Accidents do happen. Hard disks crash or develop bad sectors. Floppy disks get dirty, lost, and can be ruined by sunlight. And computers get stolen. If you make backups frequently, you can protect yourself from such losses. Backups are a kind of insurance for your data. There are many ways that backups can be made. When the amount of storage on a hard disk was 40 megabytes or less, floppy disks were adequate for making backups. However, hard disks with much larger capacities of 200 or 300 megs are becoming commonplace. Using floppies to back up these disks is possible, in principle, but it isn't very practical. Right now, the most economical way to back up such high-capacity hard disks is with a tape backup system. These backup tape systems work best when used to back up an entire hard disk or to make systematic backups of certain types of files, such as ones created or modified after a certain date. But a tape backup system doesn't work as well just to back up a few files. It can still be easier and quicker to back up to a single floppy. We'll show you how to do this by using a floppy to back up the files in our newly created Write subdirectory. This kind of backup is made using the File Manager, which is opened by double-clicking the main icon and then clicking the File Manager icon. Locate the Windows folder and, if necessary, double-click this folder to reveal the subdirectory. Click the Write folder. The files in this directory are listed on the right. Even if there are more files than you can see, these procedures will create a backup copy of all the files in this directory. Insert a blank formatted disk into your A or B drive. We'll be using our A drive. Then, click the icon for this disk drive. This message tells us that the disk is empty. If you're using an unformatted disk or a disk whose current contents you want to erase, format it by clicking Disk, then Format Disk. This produces the Format Disk dialog box. If you're not sure of what kind of disk drives you have in your computer, later we'll show you how to find this information using a helpful diagnostic program. For now, click Cancel since our disk has already been formatted. Return to the C drive because it contains the files we are going to copy. These are called the source files. These files must be selected before they can be copied. To select them, click File. Then click Select Files to open the Select Files dialog box. As before, we see the default star in this box. Since we do want to select all the files, click Select. Once these files are highlighted, close this dialog box. Now, place the pointer anywhere in the highlighted files and drag the file icon to the A drive. Upon releasing the mouse button, this confirmation dialog box appears. If you get confused about when to combine the Control key with dragging, all you need to do is to read the contents of this dialog box. The message here will make it clear whether the files are being moved or copied. If it is not what you wish, simply click No, and then repeat the process, but switch the use of the Control key to get the correct results. Since we now want to copy, click Yes. The copying dialog box lists the files as they are being copied from the Write directory to the floppy disk. If the floppy runs out of space, an insufficient space message will appear on the screen. In this event, you have several options. You could back up to more than one disk, delete some files no longer needed, or you could just back up fewer files. Let's look at how to back up fewer individual files rather than all files. If the files you want to back up are not adjacent to one another, click one file. Then hold down the Control key while clicking one or more additional files. To copy these files, drag the file icon to the A drive icon and get the confirmation dialog box. We read the message in this dialog box to verify that we will be copying these files, not moving them, then click Yes. This time we get the Confirm File Replace dialog box. Why? Because we had previously copied these files onto the floppy disk. Since these files are still on the floppy, this dialog box asks whether we want to replace the file on the floppy with the same named file currently on the hard disk. When making backups, you do want to make this replacement. Click Yes to copy the one file listed here, and the file on the floppy disk will be replaced by the one on the hard disk. Click No to prevent the one file listed here from being copied, and this file would not be backed up. You are given another opportunity to cancel the copy process. Or you can tell Windows to copy all the highlighted files by clicking the Yes to All button, which we'll click now. After the files are copied, you are returned to the File Manager. To select files that are all next to one another, click one file, then hold down the Shift key and click another file. All the files between the two files, as well as the two files clicked, are highlighted. Place the pointer anywhere in the highlighted files and drag the file icon to the A drive. We read this dialog box and verify the files are being copied, and then click Yes. Click Yes to All in this dialog box. This completes our work with the File Manager. Close the File Manager window and minimize the main window to an icon. Let's next turn our attention to some ways that Windows can be tailored for your personal convenience. Many customizable features are found in the control panel. We'll illustrate several uses of the control panel, including adjusting the mouse and keyboard, setting the computer's date and time, creating a personalized banner, and always displaying a clock on your screen. The control panel icon is generally found in the main program group. Do you sometimes have trouble working with your mouse? There are a number of adjustments that can be made. Double-click the mouse icon to get to this dialog box. If you are left-handed, you will probably prefer to reverse or swap the left and right mouse buttons. However, not being left-handed, we'll leave the buttons unswapped. The mouse trails option is designed for use with screens found mostly on portable computers. If your mouse pointer seems to disappear sometimes, turning on the mouse trails will help you keep track of it. The mouse tracking speed and double-click speed options will be a greater source of interest to most of us. The first option controls the relationship between the distance you move the mouse on your mouse pad to the distance the pointer moves on the computer's screen. If the pointer seems to move slowly, even with a lot of movement of the mouse, you will want to increase the tracking speed. The tracking speed can be increased by clicking on this right arrow or by dragging the button closer to the fast end of the scroll bar. If a seemingly small movement of the mouse causes too much movement of the pointer on the screen, the tracking speed is too fast and should be slowed down. This can be done either by clicking on the left arrow button or by dragging the button closer to slow. If you have difficulty double-clicking with your mouse, try adjusting the double-click speed. Move the pointer into the test box. Now double-click the mouse. If the test button changes color, the double-click was successful. If the double-click was not successful, try slowing down the double-click speed. You can perform this test repeatedly. If your first double-click was successful, try increasing the double-click speed. Increase the speed until you find the one that matches your natural double-click rate. When you are satisfied with your mouse adjustments, click OK. This returns us to the control panel. Another adjustment that can facilitate your use of the computer concerns the keyboard. Double-click the keyboard icon to get to this dialog box. On most computer keyboards, if a key is pressed and held down, it will automatically begin to repeat. The amount of time the key must be held down can be adjusted here. If you prefer a long delay, click or drag the button toward long. If you prefer a short delay, click or drag toward short. Another keyboard adjustment is that of the repeat rate. Holding a key down causes it to repeat. This adjustment allows you to control the speed at which it repeats. If you prefer a rapid repeat rate, click or drag toward fast. If you wish the repeat rate to be slower, click or drag toward slow. The test box allows you to test your settings. Click the pointer in this box to place the insertion bar. Then hold down any key to test both the delay and the repeat rate. Adjust as desired and then test again. When you are satisfied with your keyboard adjustments, click OK. This returns us to the control panel. It is important to know how to set your computer's internal clock. Most computers have a battery that keeps their internal clocks accurate, even when the computer is turned off. It is occasionally necessary to adjust this time, such as when shifting from standard to daylight time. Double-clicking the day-time icon brings us to the Date and Time dialog box. Either type in changes to the date or time, or use the up-down buttons to increase or decrease selected entries in each box. If your clock's date or time is set incorrectly, this is a good time to go ahead and set it. When you are through making adjustments, click OK. If you decide not to make any changes, click Cancel. We'll just click Cancel for now. This again returns us to the control panel. Now, let's look at one of the ways you can customize the appearance of your desktop by creating a personalized screensaver in the form of a text banner. Screensavers were originally developed because a computer monitor could have an image burned into it if a single motionless image were left on it for a long time. A screensaver provides a continuously changing image, which appears automatically when a computer is left inactive. Even though newer monitors are less prone to being burned, screensavers remain popular. They can be used to convey messages, provide security, or simply entertain viewers. Windows contains quite a few built-in screensavers. They can be found in the Desktop group. To see the available screensavers, click this arrow. Your list may be different, especially if you've added any commercial screensavers. If the list is long, use this button to scroll through it. The screensaver that allows us to create a personalized banner is named Marquee. When you find it, click it. In order to customize our banner, click Setup. This displays the Marquee Setup dialog box. Start by entering our own personalized text. Click inside this box to move the insertion point into it. If it is empty, you can just type in your message. If a message is already in this box, you can delete it or edit it. Do not press the Enter key when you are through entering or editing your text. Next, decide what to make your message look like. To see several appearances, click Format Text. In this dialog box, you can select a font, font style, and size. You can also select a color for the font. This screen may look familiar. It is similar to the one we saw when we modified screen fonts for the File Manager. As you make font selections, an example appears here in the sample box. When selecting a color for your font, be sure to choose one that works with the background color. The background color may be changed in a different dialog box. When you are satisfied with your choices, click OK. This returns you to the Marquee Setup dialog box, and the message you typed now appears in this box. There are some additional adjustments you may want to make. The rate at which the banner moves across the screen can be increased or decreased by adjusting the button in this speed box. The position allows you to choose between keeping the banner in the middle of the screen or allowing it to cross the screen at randomly changing levels. You can select a background color. Be sure to keep the background color compatible with the font color previously selected. Otherwise, it may be difficult to read the banner. The password options is a security feature. When turned on, it is necessary to enter a password to clear the screensaver. If you want information about how to set, change, or remove a password, or about other choices in this dialog box, click Help. When you are satisfied with all your choices in this dialog box, click OK. Then, this returns us to the desktop. There are a number of other options in the desktop window. You can easily experiment with things like pattern, wallpaper, and cursor blink rate. For more information about any of the options that we didn't cover, click Help. There is one other feature relevant to the screensaver. This is the Delay option. It allows you to adjust the length of the period of inactivity before the screensaver comes on. If you find the screensaver coming on when you don't want it to, you need to increase the delay. To see how the screensaver will look, click Test. When all the settings in this box are the way you want them, click OK. This returns us to the control panel once again. Close this window and return to Main. Now minimize Main. Let's make another customization to our Windows screen. We'll show you how to make a clock always appear on your screen, regardless of what Windows applications you may want to be using. We need to work with the Windows clock to make this change. The clock icon should be in the Accessories Program group. Open the clock windows to display either a digital readout or a clock face with hour and minute hands. The date and time needs to be correct. If they are not, you may wish to review the previous section where we showed how to set the date and time using the date and time icon in the control panel. The control panel is in Main. We'll click Settings to make some adjustments to our clock. Our first choice in this panel pull-down menu is the type of display. The digital display is like a digital watch. The analog display looks like a conventional clock face. Select the digital display. Click Settings again. Set Font allows you to select a font for the numbers. If this option is dimmed, it is because you have an analog display, and the analog display doesn't show numbers. The available fonts are shown here. When you select a font, a sample is shown here. Select a simple font that is easy to read on the computer screen. Click Settings again. The seconds and date choices permit you to show the seconds and dates. To keep the clock small and simple, neither option should be checked. Next, click the Control menu box here on the clock title bar. Make sure the Always on Top option is checked, clicking on it if necessary. This will make sure that the clock is never covered up by another window. Click Settings again. This last entry, No Title, should be checked to remove the title and menu bars from the clock. The result is that only numbers are displayed. To adjust the size of the clock window, position the mouse pointer on one of the window's sides like this, so that the pointer changes into a double-headed arrow. Now drag it to change the size of the window. We want to reduce the size of our clock window so it won't block the view of other windows. The font is automatically adjusted to fit the size of the clock window. We also want our clock where it is easy to see but won't block the content of the screen. Drag the clock to the lower right corner of the screen. To have the clock available all of the time, we need to put it into the startup window. Things in the startup window are automatically executed each time Windows is started. To put the clock into the startup window, the clock icon needs to be moved from the Accessories group into the Startup group. If you can't see the startup icon, you may have to move the Accessories window. Now we are finished discussing the clock. Now, each time you start Windows, the clock will be positioned in the window where you can see it, and will remain visible as long as you are using Windows. This concludes our work with mastering Windows. We hope that this video will serve to improve your knowledge of Windows and master the use of all the applications discussed in our program. Watch for our next video in the Advanced Windows series that will discuss the use of disk caching, virtual memory, and improving the overall performance of Windows.